Welcome to the first Dad's Talk Film Oscars special. We're going to be going over some of the main categories that we like the most and give our Oscar predictions.
And you guys are going to want to make sure that you stick around because at the end, that's when we're going to be doing the big ones, Best Actress, Best Actor, and Best Picture. So stick around.
All right, we're going to jump straight into this episode, but Sean Marcus, explain a little bit about how we're structuring this episode because it's a little different than our other typical episodes we do.
Yeah, so we're going to cover the top 15 categories of the Oscars that people are interested in. And sorry to the rest of you guys. But so we have a little key here, a little index of the way that we break things down chapter-wise. So if there's just a specific category that you're looking for, go ahead and skip ahead to that chapter or jump around. But I think you're going to want to watch the entire episode.
And also just to say too, Sean Marcus and I didn't talk about what our picks were before we were doing this episode.
Yeah, like most of our episodes, we just wing it. We go off the cuff. And I didn't want to know what his picks were so I could have a full realistic reaction to call him out if he was an idiot. Yeah, let's just start off with best sound because I'm throwing this one to you since you're the audio guy.
Man, best sound. There's a couple that I have in mind, and I'm gonna say my first thought was Avatar. And the reason why I was gonna say Avatar the very first time is because, man, I made a comment about how brutal those arrows hitting bodies were. It was just like, boom, it's just so visceral and strong. And you're just like, I don't remember this movie or the original one being so brutal. And like those impacts were just so like memorable for me. But then I started thinking about it and I think I'm going to have to give it to All Quiet on the Western Front for best sound because they immerse you in this whole World War experience. There's so many layers going on. You got explosions and you got gunfire going on. To piece together each one of those layers and make it so you can hear them, but also make it so you feel it and make it so it feels real. So I got to give it to All Quiet on the Western Front for this one.
I am pretty much almost in 100% agreement with you on this one. I actually gave it a tie to All's Quiet on the Western Front and Maverick because I felt like both of them audio-wise just threw you right into the war zone or right into the cockpit of that plane. Man. So yeah, I'm leaning more towards All's Quiet, but Maverick was right there with it.
I totally agree with you, man.
Yeah,
solid,
we're in agreement.
Tight,
Starting off.
tight choices there, but I think we made the right choice on that.
All right, so moving on to the next category, makeup and hairstyling. Really, I think this came down to makeup / prosthetics. I think you guys know where I'm going with this one. It is the people that did the prosthetics and makeup for The Whale.
100%.
Brendan Fraser looked so realistic. You completely forgot what he actually looks like, and you completely believed that he was struggling with the weight of those 600 pounds.
Yeah.
And blew both of us away. So I'm going to guess where you're going with this one, but let's see.
I 100% agree with you. As soon as I saw The Whale was on there, I knew that's the one because that was the most impressive makeup and prosthetics I've ever seen in a movie. Not only just from like his face and like he has the costume on, they straight up took his shirt off. And that was a bold move to be like a 600-pound man, full prosthetics, and you believed it. So hands down, The Whale is my pick for best makeup.
So what about costume design? You said you weren't quite leaning either way, so I'm going to take the lead on this one.
Yeah, you take it on that. I didn't have anything.
I'm going to give this one hands down to Black Panther because they here's the thing. I haven't even seen Black Panther yet. That is how impressed I am with the skill that those costume designers have for creating unique, one-of-a-kind stuff with that authentic African style, or heritage, or whatever you would want to call it. They look so modern and so cool and so badass, and every single person has their own unique outfit. That is difficult, so that's why I give it to Black Panther.
Like I said, I didn't have a pick for this category, but when you talk about it that way, I could see that, man. Marvel's really good at paying attention to the small little details in a lot of their stuff, especially when it comes to character design and costume work and stuff. So I'm going to leave it up to you on that one. Where are we going next, man?
Let's do production design. I really feel like it is a flat out tie with All Is Quiet and Babylon. And here's why. You have to be so authentic in this day and age. People are Googling everything like, did they have those watches in this time period? Did they have, and people are just tearing you apart if you don't get everything right. You have to come up with all of those costumes for all of those people and, be exact to the time period. Yeah.
Do you think one edges it out a little bit? Like, what's the first one that comes to your mind?
If I'm going to have to give it to someone, I'm going to give it to Babylon.
Okay.
Just the whole Art Deco feel of the 20s and, the flappers and like everything that was going on in that day and age was just so amazing. The way they were able to wrap everything together and just place you right in there.
And that includes like the environment that they're in and stuff as well.
The environment, not just the costumes, but like the full style of the buildings and the cars and
nice.
Yeah.
We were almost on the same page. I hadn't seen Babylon though, so I'm gonna have to take your word on, but I definitely gave it to All Quiet on the Western Front. I just saw some of the production behind the scenes stuff and what they do to really pull you into the World War I experience. And I felt pulled in even before that when they're just in town and these teenagers are like signing up to get into the military. It just felt so immersive there. And then bam, thrown into trench warfare, like the worst possible kind of warfare you can go. And man, it was just amazing. I felt like you were there. There's explosions going on. You can feel the tragedy happening around them. And just war in general, it just made you feel like you were there. So it's kind of amazing how they can transform a space and really teleport you into another time. Like you were saying, I never once questioned it.
Well, how do you feel about editing?
Oh man, this one was a hard one for me because I was finding that I was like, man, do I go with what I just enjoy as a movie? Is that part of the editing? Or is it like the skill level? I think on that. So I went between Maverick and Everything Everywhere All at Once because I was like, man, I really love Maverick. The pacing of it is great. And then I had cheek clenching experiences going on. I was like, oh man, are they going to make it? And like the tension is so well built in that editing. But I think for the creativity and how much craziness is happening, Everything Everywhere All at Once really deserves a win. They really took it to a new level, and man, just to manage all of those moving pieces, where you're at, like what dimension you're kind of in, and then making it all meld and mesh together, I think is takes a lot more skill than editing something like Maverick.
Again, we're in agreement because I was Everything Everywhere All at Once. It is such a unique story, premise, screenplay, and there's so much going on. I mean, it must have been a nightmare to cut that film together. And, like I said, when we first watched this, I was really confused at first, but that's just because of everything you have to absorb for this movie. That's not because of the editing, but that's just, this movie was bonkers.
Yeah.
So to cut this movie and make it to, I feel like the masterpiece that it is, I'm giving it to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Second place, though, is Maverick. because the way they shot that and filmed it and edited it and like, you know, planes just zipping past and like craziest, most awesomest fight scenes and stuff. So, but that was still everything everywhere all at once for sure on that category.
Yeah, I think they deserved that win because that was just a lot to take on and a lot to make sense. And then there's a lot of small edits that happen in that, just going through all the dimensions, like just on her face, there's like, you know, like 50 different dimensions just going and different, like, I don't know, man. It was just crazy.
Along the editing line though, we're going to move on to visual effects. And I'm tossing this one back to you again because I'm curious to see what you picked.
I feel like this one was an easy one for me. I could have went other directions, but we were just talking about it. Oh man. Now I'm questioning it. Hold on.
What? Are you changing your mind on the fly?
I don't know. I originally.
What was your instinct before, and then what's your gut telling you now?
So what I have down is Maverick. Because I just loved like that whole thing, all how the jets and stuff in between, like all the action and shooting. But man, I'm starting to think visual effects, man. I probably got to give it to Everything Everywhere All at Once. There's so much going on. Like it just like after us just talking about it, the editing, I just like revisited all those dimensions and including the little rock guy. So I'm changing on the spot. I'm going to go Everything Everywhere All at Once because there's so much happening and it meshes in, meshes out, and slams you in things, but also then smoothly gets you into other things. As much as I enjoy Maverick, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I actually needs to take it, I think.
I'm with you, but I'm going your original route with Maverick just because the way they filmed this and all the visual effects that they had going on, like the jets and, you know, flying past you and explosions and all of this stuff was so realistic that I'm completely going to give this one to Maverick, which is weird because you don't expect an action movie really to be getting Oscars like this. But like you said, Everything Everywhere All at Once, they were so creative with the way that they filmed this and with the effects that they had going on. You could tell on a smaller budget, but they made it look like a big production. So kudos to them. All right, so we're going to go with adapted screenplay. What do you think will be the winner of this one?
Okay, so with adapted screenplay, my first initial instinct, and it's going to stick, is I'm going to go with Maverick because they had to take source from the original Top Gun, and I feel like they did a good job with taking original source from Top Gun and then meshing it all together to make a really solid, exciting sequel, but also pay homage to some of those old quirks and fun times in the very first one, you know, to bring that nostalgia factor. So I'm going to go with Maverick on this one, man.
Okay, I'm going out on one that probably hasn't been watched very much, but I feel like really needs to be watched. And I'm going with Women Talking on this one. It is such an important film and topic, and it was very well done. A lot of great actresses in it. And I think it's actually, besides one guy, it is an all-female cast. And I feel like it's a very important topic, and I feel like that one is going to take it for this.
Okay, nice, man. I think if we're going to go from adapted screenplay, we should just dive straight into original screenplay then.
That's the category I was going with.
Perfect.
So for this one, hands down, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like I said, it was such an original idea, such a great storyline, and so unique. I've never seen a movie like this. For sure, hands down, original screenplay, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I have Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. There's just so much going on. I love the originality of it all, even though it's like multiverse stuff and you got Marvel doing multiverse stuff. But man, they took this on a completely different level, and I think probably did it better than Marvel did.
Oh, they pushed it to extreme.
Yeah, but pulled everything together, and yeah, I think it was one of the most original films I've seen in a long time. And so
Yeah.
it has to go to everything everywhere all at once. Man, that's a mouthful to say, but
Yeah.
it's a,
It is.
it's a lot of movie too. So mouthful to say and a lot of movie, but it should definitely get that win for best original screenplay.
All right. So let's get into the supporting roles here.
Okay.
Supporting female lead. This was a tough one because there was a lot of great supporting roles, I thought. I'm going to give this one a tie because it was so tough. Either Carrie Condon from Banshees or Jamie Lee Curtis from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, okay.
I think both of them did a really great job as a supporting role. And I had a hard time choosing, so I'm glad I'm not in the Academy because I wouldn't be able to pick.
Yeah. I was on the fence also about two. I was going between Carrie Condon on the Banshees of Inisherin and Hong Chow from The Whale because I just enjoyed both of those. But I think I might have to just give it to Carrie Condon on the Banshees of Inisherin because she was kind of the glue that kept everything together between all of the characters. And I think she was an integral part to that. And without her, it would have just been two dudes just bickering back and forth and chopping off fingers. So
two dudes and one cup.
So I'm going to give it to Carrie Condon. Hong Chow did an amazing job for me, in The Whale, but I think Carrie Condon just edged it out a little bit for me.
All right. So what about a supporting actor then?
Man, I had two choices on this one too, between Everything Everywhere All at Once, Ke Huy Quan, and The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Gleeson. And I feel like both of those were really superb acting. But I think I'm going to have to give it to Ke Huy Quan because he put in the work, man. He hired acting coaches to come back into the acting world and he just killed it. Like he has scenes where he doesn't even have to say a thing and you know which personality he is just from his eyes alone. And I think that's an amazing thing to be able to convey a character just with the look of your expressions in your face and to really sell that. So I'm going to give it to Ke Huy Quan, man.
Oh, we are tied again. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a tie between those two. But
solid acting.
Ke Huy, he just sold it. And the fact that he came out of basically retirement and hadn't done a movie in decades and boom, back on the scene and slayed it for this movie. Brendan Gleeson did a great job.
Yeah,
but
excellent actor.
Just inches it out.
Yeah,
over Brendan. Yeah,
it was kind of nice to see Ke Huy Quan come right back in and show how dedicated he was to it, and then not only be dedicated to it, but like kill it, man. Like that's not what I would expect from any actor, honestly. Like that's been in retirement for that long, and
the amount of adoration that he's getting again and his appreciation for what he's been granted again. I mean, it just melts your heart when you hear him with his acceptance speeches. So
yeah, it's kind of hard too, like to even imagine him as a supporting character because he stands out so well in that you're like, man, you're like a main person there. But I mean, I think he has to take it, honestly.
Yeah. Let's go with director. Now, I'm going to take this one because I dabble a little bit in directing, and I got to give it to my man from Sweden, Ruben Östlund, for Triangle of Sadness. Because as you said in our episode on that movie, he did such a good job of directing these amazing actors and made it so believable. You just totally bought their conversations, their fights, their insecurities, everything. And he did such a good job of blending these three segments of the movie together. And yeah, he's doing great stuff. So I'm giving it to him.
Again, we're in agreement, man. Like I said, he pulled off like almost a 3-hour movie. It's like 2.5 some odd hours. And those are a little bit difficult for me to watch, but man, I was entertained the entire time. The realism of the film, I was super impressed with. And as a director too, he has to provide that space for those actors to be able to perform that and feel comfortable enough, but also set the environment and like manage everything going on around. And he packaged that baby up into a fine piece of work. And so I'm definitely going to have to give it to him too. So look at us.
Well, I am surprised though that Darren Aronofsky was not nominated for Best Director, because that would have made it really tough for me.
Yeah, if Darren Aronofsky was on the list, he would have hands down got it. When I saw the category for Best Director and I was getting ready to look at the list, Darren Aronofsky popped into my head very first. But Ruben was definitely on that list for me of, if Darren wasn't there, Ruben's definitely taken it. So definitely impressed me with Triangle of Sadness.
Let's move on to actor and actress.
Oh man, we're getting down to the last bit of them.
Yeah.
So if you stuck with us this far, make sure you hit up the comments and tell us if you've agreed with us thus far. And then, here it comes. Here's the big three. Yeah. Best actress, best actor, and of course, best picture coming up in a moment.
Best actress.
I'm going with Michelle Yeoh from Everything Everywhere All at Once. She had so much she had to take on and evolve an entire character. She goes from this really uptight and just like trying to control every aspect of her life, and you can feel that anxiety just building up. She had to be that character of like, I need you to control this. I need to control my kid. I need to control my husband. I need to control my job. But then she went into this crazy action-packed fighting woman that was just really strong and powerful and fighting all these other little demons, I guess, of her own mind, to also circle it all the way around to just letting go and being a very peaceful person. I think she nailed it on that movie. And I feel like that would be a really difficult job to go from all these different transitions to evolve a character in that time frame. So I'm giving it to her.
Again, we're on the same page. I'm also giving it to Michelle because her character development throughout that movie was so like believable, and like the growth that she had and like all the topics that were covered, and she just portrayed all of those worries and everything so well. All right, so I'm going to take it off here with Best Actor.
Yeah.
I don't think it is a surprise to anyone who watched our episode on this movie or has even watched the news and the buzz of Brendan Fraser for The Whale.
100%. We agree.
Yeah. Did some of the best acting I've ever seen in a movie. He was so believable, so lovable, so passionate, so heartfelt.
Oh, man.
Everything about his role was to perfection.
Just talking about it, you bringing up all that stuff, I just had chills run through my body.
Me too.
And that's just, he nailed that performance. And man, look at that, getting all choked up over here.
Yeah.
Man, he made me feel so much in that character, just in his eyes alone, but his performance, man, he nailed it. And I came out of the theater just awestruck and amazed and not expecting that from Brendan Fraser at all. And it just shows the level of skill that Brendan Fraser is able to do. And I'm excited to see more of what he brings after this, because he has so much hype around him right now.
Yeah.
He's so appreciative of everything, and it's well-deserved. All the accolades, all the applause, and everything. Man.
Yeah. He deserves it all. And God bless him.
I can't say enough. Just go watch The Whale episode, and you'll see how much we appreciate it and admire his acting and just that whole production of that movie in general. But Brendan stands out.
He blows you away because let's be honest, we're used to him in Airheads, Encino Man, Georgia the Jungle, you know, completely different. I didn't know he had this range. So
yeah, I didn't either. And I'm pleasantly surprised. And I think he deserves this win.
Yeah. So boom. Let's get on to the big one, Best Picture.
Before we get into that, before we tell you what our pick is, we want you to comment down below and let us know what you think Best Picture should be. And let's see if it matches up with ours. So pause it right now, type it in, go, what your Best Picture is, and see if you agree with Sean Marcus and me. You're going to agree with me. And who knows, maybe with how we're going, you might agree with both of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so Best Picture. My original thought was The Whale, hands down, should be Best Picture, but it's not on the list, so I was disappointed to find that out. But I have to give it to Top Gun Maverick because I felt so much excitement through that movie. I left with just so much adrenaline, and like we loved it so much in our Maverick episode, we put ourselves in jets because it got us that hyped up and excited with our aviators on and everything. So I'm giving it hands down to Top Gun Maverick for me, man.
This one was tough because I watched every single one of these. I'm just going to go real quick. All's Quiet on the Western Front was the most probably believable war movie that I think I've ever seen. Banshees of Inisherin was such a beautiful, slow-paced movie. Elvis, he did a great job of portraying Elvis, but the movie itself was pretty lackluster. Mm-hmm. Everything Everywhere All at Once was so unique and crazy and amazing. Fabelmans, that was basically just Steven Spielberg stroking his own ego. It was not that great of a movie. Tar, I really expected more from that movie because Kate Blanchett does a great job.
She does great.
It was kind of too slow and all over the place, and it wasn't that much of a psychological thriller. Top Gun Maverick blew me away. Triangle of Sadness did such a great job with all their stories and everything going on. And Women Talking was a beautiful picture with an important topic. But Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, man, you're going that.
Was such a unique movie and so well done with the budget that they had. And it was such a great movie, and I think it topped all of those. I feel like they're gonna win it.
I didn't think you were gonna go there, man. Yeah, but you totally did. I thought for sure you were gonna be doing Maverick too because you love Top Gun so much. I can agree with everything they're saying, but I'm still gonna stick with Maverick. I agree though that man,
it was a great movie, but I'm like, I can't give Best Picture to an action movie. I just can't do it.
That's fine. Yeah, but I think wrong. A lot of I'll take a wrong on that because you're wrong too. No, you're not wrong. I think both were great. They're both great on a different level. Everything Everywhere All at Once was definitely a consideration for me, but I think Maverick made a bigger impact on me when I watched it for the excitement level. I would definitely go back and watch Maverick over and over and over again.
But we're going to have to also watch Everything Everywhere All at Once again because we might be covering that one in a deep dive. Subscribe because it's coming out here in a little bit. Spoiler.
Let us know in the comments. Did our Best Picture match up with your Best Picture?
So that's our show. That's our Oscar special.
Man, that was a fun one, man. Yeah. I didn't know where you were going at the end with the Best Picture. You had me on the edge of my seat there, and it took me by surprise. Yeah. So hopefully you guys are surprised a little bit. Well,
I wanted to touch on all of the movies because all of them are great in their own ways, but you can only have one, I think, Best Picture. So couldn't make this one a tie.
Agreed, man. But I think that's it for our first ever Oscar special. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe button, and leave the comments.
Leave a comment. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, and then tomorrow, the Oscars are coming out. We're going to see if our predictions were right. See if your predictions were right. Put those in the comments, all your predictions.
For every category that we are right, you need to take a shot.
There you go, man. You guys are going to be hammered or completely sober.
Or a little buzzed.
All right.
Those are the three options.
But that's it for us today. Tune into the Oscars tomorrow and we have more episodes coming out on some of these Oscar specials, more Oscar specials. So come back here too. So
yeah. All right, guys.
Until next time.
See you.
Peace.